Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Wahyu Ramadhan, and this video will be explaining about the English literature out there. And I'm as a researcher using a Virginia Woolf. So we are next to the chapter 1. What is the literature? We are back to background. Literature, collection of work. The name has traditionally been applied to creative poetry and prose, distinguished by artist's intention and aesthetic perfection of execution. Literature can be classified according to various systems such as long language, country of origin, historical period, genre, and subject. According to Welleck and Warren, they also say that the term literature seems more appropriate if we limit it to the literary arts, that is, imaginative literature. Literature is also produced by the imagination of the author. Literature is not just a document of events. It is not just a collection of real events. Although it can happen in real life, literature can create its own world as the product of unlimited imagination. In English, literature has many periods in there. There are Anglo-Saxon period, Middle English period, Renaissance, Neoclassical period, Romantic period, Victorian age, Edwardian period, the Georgian period, and the Modernism period. So the modernism, the postmodernism, in any period had a famous author, especially Virginia Woolf, as a British novelist considered one of the greatest figures in 20th century as a modernist literature. Although she is often referred to as a feminist, she is called the nickname because she is believed it meant as obsession with women and women issues. She was born in 1882 and died in 1941. She did make many of the works in her lifetime. Some of the work was a Kew Gardens, a haunted house, a society, and a mark on the wall. A haunted house is the one of the famous short stories by Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf's A Haunted House is a ghost story in less than 2 pages of prose. Woolf provides a modernist interpretation of the genre by exploring, evoking, and subverting the convention of the ghost stories. A Haunted House first appeared in Woolf's 1921 storybook on Murder or Tuesday. Two ghosts tell the story of a couple visiting their house. However, the ghosts do no harm to the couple and, according to the living couple, they will only open the closed doors and windows in desperate search for treasure that does not exist in the house. So the researcher used a work of Virginia Woolf as a subject researcher because the story was nice to understand and a unique one. The researcher used a haunted house to study for the intrinsic elements. The story was telling about the hair couch each couple to the end, a problem actually giving more lesson on it. So, the biography of Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf had original name in full Adeline Virginia Stephen, born in January 25, 1882 in London, England, and she died in March 28 in the year 1941 in near Rodmell, Sussex. British author whose novel had a major impact on the genre with their non-linear approach to storytelling. Her father, Leslie Stephen, was a noted writer and first editor in 1882 until 91. of the National Biographical Dictionary, her mother Julia Jackson was known for her outstanding beauty defined as self-sacrifice. She is also had from its social and outstanding beauty and defined self-sacrifice. She has also a prominent social and creative collection, including her own Julia Margaret Cameron, one of the greatest portrait photographers of the 19th century. Julia's first wife, Leslie, daughter of her first husband, Herbert Duckworth, and writer William Makepeace Thackeray, died unexpectedly, leaving one with 3 children. Julia Jackson Duckworth and Leslie Stephen married in 1878 and had 4 children. The first is Vanessa, born in 1879, and the second Toby, born in 1890, and Virginia, born in 1882, and the last is Adrian, born in 1883. So, loyalty between them changed as the 4 children united and took on their older half-brother. Virginia was envious of Adrian being her mother's favorite. At the age of 9, she was a genius who wrote the Hyde Park Gates News, a family newspaper that often made fun of Vanessa and Adrian. Although Vanessa was the mother of others, particularly Virginia, the dynamism between need, Virginia, and alienation, Vanessa, was something expressed as a rivalry between Virginia's writing and Vanessa's painting. Stephen's family moved over summer from a London townhouse near Kensington Garden to the rather messy townhouse on the Narragansett coastline. This annual relocation has structured Virginia's childhood work in the turn of city and countryside, winter and summer, oppression and freedom, division and integrity, but her neatly divided and predictable world came to an end with the death of her mother in 1895 at the age of 49. Virginia stopped writing her funny family's news message at the age of 13. It has been almost a year since she started writing interesting letters to her brother Toby. She was just getting out of depression when her half sister Stella Duckworth died in 1897. At the age of 28, Virginia recorded the incident in her diary as unexplainable. Then, after her father's death in 1904, Virginia suffered a nervous breakdown. While Virginia was recovering, Vanessa oversaw the relocation of Stephen's children to the London's Bohemian Bloomsbury neighborhood. There, her brother and sister lived independently of her half-brothers, the Duckworths, and had the right to study, find, write, and enjoy themselves. Leonardo Woolf dined with them in November 1904 and became a colonial administrator shortly before sailing the Ceylon, or the other name is Sri Lanka. Soon, the Stephen family gathered radical youngsters every week, including Cliff Bell, Linton Strachey, and John Maynard Keynes. They later became famous as an art critic, biographer, and economist. Then, in 1906, after the family traveled to Greece, Toby died of typhoid, and he was 26 years old. Virginia was sad, but not depressed. She overcame Toby's loss and the loss of Vanessa, who was engaged to Bell shortly after Toby's death, through letters. Vanessa married and helped turn conversation on the so-called Bloomsbury Group, a avant-garde gathering of into profound and sometimes obscene rebutals. Her heartbreaking memoirs about her childhood and her lost mother. Published in 1908, while researcher Italian Art de Summer, she promised to make a whole swaying fragment into the language to capture the flight of the mind. So, we are in the chapter 3. At the works. At the first is a Kew Gardens. Kew Garden is a short story written by Virginia Woolf, first published in 1919. This story depicts four fights of people, married couple, an older woman or older man with a younger man, two older women and a young couple walking through a flower bed in botanical garden. London Gardens. The history of each couple is referenced only short stories, giving the reader an idea of the relationship, not the details. This story uses image of failing petals and the butterflies to reveal the inherent randomness of the decision that shapes human life. The setting, writing style, and some of the image used are intended to evoke a Frisian aesthetic. The story was originally published as a 24-page work by Virginia Woolf and her husband Leonard. This was the first commercial success of their publisher Hogarth Press. So the second is A Haunted House. A Haunted House by Virginia Woolf was published in her first collection of short fiction, Murder or Tuesday, in 1921. It later appeared as the lead story of another collection of stories, A Haunted House and Other Stories, in 1944, after Woolf's death. And the third is a Society. Virginia Woolf in the new works is a Society was published in 1921. Until this time, the writer has universally proven that she is not the only one known. Her recent opposition to the World War I, as well as outright criticism, is there. She opposes the inferiority of female writers and artists. So the last is The Mark on the Wall. Was published in 1917 as a part of the first collection of short stories written by Virginia Woolf and her husband, called Two Stories. The narrator says the marking on the walls reflects the working of the mind. Topics of religion, introspection, nature, and uncertainty are explored. The narrators recall the development of mindset of childhood. So we are gonna in chapter 4, the selected works, A Haunted House by Virginia Woolf in 1921. So the summary is, A Haunted House is a meaningful story that shows us the treasures of life. When the two ghosts find their old home in search of their treasure, a treasure or meaning is revealed to us. The joy and love that two people share is the treasure of life. Using irony and stream of consciousness, Virginia Woolf can reveal the meaning of the story. Virginia Woolf used a style called stream of consciousness to reveal the lives of her character and reveal the thought and association we learn about the ghosts of the past by seeing what they think and associate with this past. The main idea is the love. Love is at the heart of Virginia Woolf's Haunted House, bringing comfort and happiness to everyone, from to the undead to haunted house. So we are gonna in the intrinsic element. So the first is characteristic. So the characterization is first is life couple, the house you currently live in it. The evidence, second paragraph. So the point of view is according to Montacqua and Shaw. Point of view distinguishes the reader, who determines the grammatical structure and to the narrative who tells the story, and who tells this different story is so important. About the point of view, this work uses third persons. The omniscient, the third person used in narrators allow you to tell the complete story that is not limited to the authors. So the next is a setting. About the setting, the action that takes place in the unidentified house with a garden. Certificate, what did I come here for? What did I to find? My hands were empty. Perhaps it's after dance. The apple was in the attic, and the dawn again the gardens was still. Only books slid into the grass. Nighttime evidence. After a while, lights went out, so in the garden, but the trees were stirring in the darkness for the wandering rays of the sun. So the next is tone. The tone is playful and upbeat. The readers understand that the ghost that to the church pose and no danger to the living couple. And the next is theme. The mystery of everlasting love in the second sentence of the story. The phrase hand in hand suggests that the ghost is in love. The author then leads the reader to the beliefs that the story is probably about finding treasure, such as gold or money. In fact, the story is about a treasure of love. Goes from the house, rediscovering a place built with memories of their love for each other. So the next is writing style. The writing style about the structure of the story is based on a poetic writing style. For example, in the second sentence, she uses a minor poetic device. Inversion. When she writes, make sure a ghostly couple instead of a ghostly couple making sure. Another example of inversion occurs in the following two sentences. Stuffing, holding their silver lamps above us. Long they look and deeply. And the seventh is plot. The plot is including the exposition. Whatever hour you walk, there was a drew shouting from room to room. They went hand in hand, lifting here, opening there, making sure a ghostly couple. And the conflict is when he said, "What did I come here for? What did I want to find? My hands were empty. Perhaps it's Amsterdam. The apples were in the loft." And so down again, the garden still as ever, only the book had slipped into the grass. And the rising action, "But it wasn't that you woke us. Oh no, they are looking for it. They are drawing the certain, and the second page is now they have found it. One would be certain, stuffing the pencil up on the margin." We are into the climax, but they found him in the living room, not that we can see them. The windows reflect the apples, the roses reflect. All the leaves are green in the glass. Falling action. The shadow of a bird crosses the carpet from the depths of the silent well. The dove created its sounds bubble. Safe, safe, safe. The pulse of the house beat softly. The treasure buried. The pulse stopped short. Oh, was that the very treasure? And the last is resolution. So, the finally getting better situation. That was the glass. That was between us. Coming to the woman first, hundreds of years ago. Leaving the house. Sealing all the windows. The room were darkened, and he left her. Went north, went east. Saw the star thin in the shortened sky. Shook the house, pointed the drop beneath the down. Safe, safe, safe. The pulse of the house beat gently, and the treasure yours. So we are into the chapter 4, that is in conclusion. So the Virginia Woolf is a writer of English literature in the modernist era. Recently, in the 20th century, who is also referred to as a writer who is also a representative of feminism. She was born in London, England in 1882 and died in 1944. She died under tragic circumstances, namely by committing suicide, because he was depressed because the stress of the German attack at that time. During his lifetime, he wrote many literary works, including Kew Gardens, A Haunted House, A Society, and The Mark on the Wall. This short story included several intrinsic elements, namely characterization, point of view, setting, tone, theme, writing style, and plot. Okay, that's all what I can explain in this video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.